Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. So I'm very excited for today's video. I am going to be doing my top 10 books of the year. Couple disclaimers before I jump into it. One, I kind of cheated the system a little because I included some series because when I listed out all my favorite books of the year, I simply could not narrow it down to 10. There was just no way. I had literally such a good reading year this year. I'm going to do a video wrapping up every single book I read this year. But I read so many good books this year. This was the first year that I really got back into reading recently. So I feel like I read all the hyped up books and just had so many good books that I read. So it was hard for me to narrow it down. So I do have a couple series. I also didn't include a couple rereads. So I'm gonna touch on those now. But basically, if I reread the book this year, obviously I love it. It's a good book for a reason. So I have 3 rereads this year that I'm not going to mention, but these are favorite books. They just are. So first and foremost, if you know me, Normal People, absolutely love this book with my whole heart and soul. I feel like I've talked about this book so much and I just love it. It is perfect to me. Then we have 2 Emily Henry reads. So we've got Beach Read and Book Lovers, and I adore both of these books so much. Something about Emily Henry's writing, I feel like she writes more than just romance. Obviously there's a heavy plot of romance in these books, but she does such a good job of touching on somewhat heavier subjects, or just, personal relationships or things that people might be struggling with in their 20s, 30s, that kind of stuff. And she does a really good job of unpacking those sorts of emotions and things like that, as well as the romance aspect. So if you don't know, Beach Read is about Gus and January, and they were rivals in college, and when January moves into her dad's beach house, she ends up finding out that Gus is her next door neighbor. So they kind of have this rivalry between them. It's enemies to lovers. It's literally perfect. The quotes out of this book are incredible. Gus is literally the blueprint book boyfriend. He is just perfect. Then we have Book Lovers, and this is about Nora and Charlie. They're kind of workplace enemies, and then they end up both going to this small town. Charlie's from there. Nora takes a vacation there with her sister. Kind of a little bit forced proximity, but their relationship is just so adorable. And I also love Nora's relationship with her sister. It's just such an incredible read. Okay, so now we are going to jump into the top 10 books. I also did not put these in any specific order. I simply could not do that. I tried to, and there was just no way. Like I said, I read so many good books this year, and there was just no way for me to rank them. So I'm just going to rattle these off in a completely random order. This is not least favorite to favorite or favorite to least favorite, whatever. This is simply all of these books are in my top 10, and to me, all of these books are perfect. So let's jump right in. Okay. First up, we have 2 Taylor Jenkins Reid books, and I just adore Taylor Jenkins Reid's writing. Every book of hers that I've read has just completely blown me away. I have a few books of hers that I really want to read on my TBR coming up for this upcoming year, but I just love her books so much. So first of all, we have Daisy Jones and the Six. This book is, I'm sure you've heard literally everyone and their mother talk about it. It is so incredible. This is about the band Daisy Jones and the Six. It's a fake band. I really genuinely, for a moment when I first started reading this, was is this about a real band? But it's not. This is about a fake band in the 60s, 70s, and kind of just the relationships between them. Written in interview style, so as you can see, you have the name of who said it and then what they said. But this is an interview taking place years in advance. You're getting a lot of them flashing back and talking about this experience in past tense. So there's a lot of miscommunication. One person will say something happened, and then cut to a page later, someone else is saying that that didn't happen. And it's just so beautiful. It's so well written. It's such a unique read. I've never read a book written like this, and it is just so incredible. The quotes out of this book are amazing, and I love this book so much. I honestly want to reread it. I still, and I don't know how, have not watched the show. I feel like I'm a little scared to watch it because I love this book so much. And whenever books get turned into a TV series or a movie, I get nervous because I'm is it gonna live up to the hype? And everyone has raved about it. Everyone said it is incredible, but I don't know. I'm nervous to watch it, but I will watch it at some point. But I really want to do a reread of this in the new year, but listen to it on audiobook, because on audiobook they have a different voice for each character. So I feel like that will be just even more immersed in it. Next we have one of my top favorite reads literally ever. Seven Husbands of Evelyn Hugo. This book I read right at the beginning of this year, and I have not stopped thinking about this book all freaking year. This is about Evelyn, and she was a famous actress in the 50s, 60s time, I want to say. And then this is her like later in life. She's like in her 80s, maybe late 70s, 80s. Basically, she hires Monique to write her story. So Monique comes every day. Evelyn tells her about her life, and Monique is going to write a biography about her. And it is so amazing. There's so many deep messages in this book. Obviously, there are 7 husbands that Evelyn had, but it talks so much about like being a woman and the expectations, and especially at that time what being a woman meant. And it's just such a beautiful read. Like, honestly, thinking about it, I literally tear up thinking about it. This book made me cry, it made me laugh. It literally sent me through a whirlwind of emotions, and I just adore this book so much. Next up, I have another Emily Henry read. This is her newest release, and this book is just perfect to me. Like I said earlier, Emily Henry does such a good job of including romance, of course, but also including deeper topics. This book is about Win and Harriet, and they've been dating for like 10 years, and they go on their annual friend vacation, and they'd actually just recently broken up, but they didn't want to tell their friends yet. So they're basically faking that they are still together on this vacation. But this book has so much more than that. It is about friendships and how friendships change as you grow older. All these friends met in college, and now they're in their late 20s or early 30s, and their friendships have changed, their goals in life have changed, they don't all live together. And it's such a beautiful story about how friendships change over time and how to grow and maintain adult friendships. And I just have not stopped thinking about this book since I read it. Next, we have Bright Side by Kim Holden. I feel like I've talked about this book quite a bit recently, but I read this book probably in like the summertime, I think, and oh my gosh, this book broke my heart. This is about Kate, and she has been through so much in her life, so much tragedy, and she basically moves away from her hometown, goes to college, and there's something happening that you kind of get hints of, but you're like not fully sure until probably like halfway, and then you find out what the reason is. And from there, this book is just so heartbreaking. It literally had me sobbing, ugly crying, probably the like second half of this book. It's such a beautiful story. There's so many amazing life lessons about just like being thankful for what you have and being gracious regardless of the circumstances that you may, you know, experience in life. And it's just so incredible. I love this book so much. There is like some romance in it, but I wouldn't say that's like necessarily the main plot. But it's just so good. Next, we have 2 books that are incredibly similar, and when I tried to just pick one of them, I honestly could not narrow it down, so I'm going to mention both of them. So that is Love in Other Words by Christina Lauren and Every Summer After by Carly Fortune. Both of these are childhood friends to lovers, past and present. You find out that they haven't spoken in, both of them they haven't spoken in like 10 plus years. They reconnect years down the road, and you try and figure out what happened and why they're no longer together. I remember when I was reading Every Summer After, I simply could not put this book down. As I was reading it, I truly never wanted this book to end. It is so amazing. I will say the reason that they didn't talk is not my favorite. I don't love it. But I still gave this book 5 stars because regardless of that, it was absolutely perfect to me. I love childhood friends to lovers. It's one of my favorite tropes, and I just think this is literally such an incredible book. And Love in Other Words, I'm sure you've heard literally everyone and their mother talk about this book. It is so amazing. Macy and Elliot are literally perfect. Elliot is, I love him so much. Like, he is incredible, perfect book boyfriend. They're like growing up together is so incredible. They both have books growing up and would like just spend time reading together, and it was just so sweet. Like, their relationship as kids was just so incredible. I would still recommend reading both. Even if you've read one of them, I would still recommend reading the other. If you liked one, you're definitely gonna like the other. I just think that this trope, like, honestly, I would read any book with this trope. So if you have childhood friends to lovers recommendations, please let me know because I need to read more. Last individual book I have before I get into my series is Icebreaker by Hannah Grace. I just ate this book up. This book is just fun and it's entertaining and has found family. It has like literally dream book boyfriend. It's a sports romance. I just love it so much. Obviously, it's a hockey ice skater romance, and there's kind of forced proximity a little bit. It's just so good and sweet. And I just remember reading this book and giggling and kicking my feet, and it just felt so perfect to me. I love this found family aspect so much. It is cheesy, it does have kind of predictable writing, but it's just like when you need a book that just feels good to read and it's mindless and it's just a happy book, like this is literally it. Okay, now we are going to get into favorite series. So first one, I don't have the physical copies because I read them all on Kindle. They are on Kindle Unlimited, and that is the Windy City series by Liz Tomforde. I love these books so much. I gave the first book, Mile High, 4.5 stars, I think, 4.5, and then I gave the second two books 5 stars. They are similar to Icebreaker, sports romances, and they are just that perfect, easy romance read. They are fun, they're lighthearted, the characters are incredible, there's a found family. It can be standalones, but they're also very much interconnected, so you get crossover of the characters, which is like one of my favorite things. I love seeing characters that we've already read about in another book in the series. I also love that these books are all set in Chicago, which is super cool because I live in Chicago, so it's like fun to read about, and I just adore all 3 of these books so much. Next, we have the Chestnut Springs series. I did a whole reading vlog on the first 4 books of this series. The 5th one just came out in October, I think, so hadn't included that in the reading vlog, but if you want to see my thoughts and opinions on the first 4, definitely check out that reading vlog. But I love this series so much. I love Elsie Silver's writing. I feel like she writes romance so well. She develops her characters so well. Everyone has their little quirks and everything. The found family, and I mean, I guess it's technically mostly family. There are some people that aren't like blood related to them, but just the overall found family in these books. And like I said, mentioned with the Windy City series, you get carryover of all the characters as you continue on in the series. It's so perfect. I know a lot of people's favorite is Heartless, and I did love Heartless. This one is single dad nanny trope. But my favorite is still, to this day, the first book, Flawless. I don't know why. I don't know if because this is the first one and just I felt like nothing could live up to this hype from when I read this book. But I just devoured this book when I read it. I loved it so much. He's a bull rider. She is hired to kind of be like his babysitter because he has a really bad reputation and basically needs to like get his shit together. So she is hired to be his babysitter, and they obviously don't like each other, and just the tropes in this book are perfect to me. But honestly, all these books are perfect. I'll quickly go through like each trope. So like I mentioned, kind of his babysitter. Heartless is single dad nanny. Powerless is a childhood friends to lovers, which you know I already mentioned. I love this trope so much. Reckless is accidental pregnancy, which I wasn't sure that I was going to love, but it actually is so good. Like, Theo is such a sweetheart in this book, and I just really love this trope. The last one is fake dating, which fake dating is one of my favorite tropes. So if you like any of those tropes, I highly recommend reading whichever book it is, but honestly, you should read the whole series because it is so good, so perfect. I want to be a part of the Eden family, literally so bad. Last up, we have the series that I will never stop thinking about, and that is the Magnolia Park series. I also did a reading vlog for these books, so if you haven't seen that, go check that out. But oh my gosh, these books completely stole my year. I read them at the end of the year and truly have not stopped thinking about them. I think about these characters all the time. I love them so much. If you don't know, basically it goes Magnolia... I'm like trying to rest these on my legs so you can see them. Magnolia Parks, Daisy hates. Magnolia Parks, The Long Way Home. Daisy hates The Great Undoing. They're kind of like interconnected, but you should definitely read the whole series in order, because if you only read like Magnolia Parks and then read Daisy Hates, there would be some things that are spoiled. Personally, I am more of a Daisy Hates girl. I feel like you either are a Magnolia Parks girl or a Daisy Hates girl, and I just loved Daisy Hates, that storyline just a little bit more. Like, all of it is so perfect, and the series as a whole is everything to me, but specifically Magnolia Parks 2 and Daisy Hates 2 are some of my absolute favorites. This is high society London. There are people that are in like the mafia, not the mafia, they're like crime lords basically of London. There is toxicity, there is drama. Nothing about this book is like what you should strive for, okay? The romance in here is not like a good romance in that aspect, but it is so addictive. Even though the characters are flawed, which they are meant to be flawed, you just care for them and you develop such deep feelings for them. And I just can't get enough of this series. I love it so much. And I am so excited for the next Magnolia Parks book to come out in February. I truly am just going to be sitting on the edge of my seat for the next 2 months, waiting for that book to come out. And the moment it comes out, I will be reading it. So that is it for my top 10-ish books of the year. It is only December 16th, so I could read another like incredible book in the next 2 weeks. Who knows? I will do a final wrap up of the year at the very end of the year and obviously talk about all the books that I've read. But as of now, these are my top 10-ish books of the year. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for coming along with me this year. I have had so much fun starting my channel and I have so many videos planned for the upcoming year. Make sure to follow me on other social medias as well because I do post other book content on my TikTok, and I actually just started a book Instagram, so that will be linked down below as well. Please make sure to go check that out. Thank you guys so much for all your support this year, and I am so excited for the new year. So thank you guys again. Make sure to subscribe so you don't miss any of my videos, and I will see you in my next one.